Good morning. It is getting close to 11 UTC here on Wednesday, the 27th of November. Going through Bitcoin market update. So, big thing to remember, as I've mentioned before, is that an hour before the New York opens, we're going to have some economic data coming out. The big things you look for is if the forecast and the actual are not the same. And then there'll be some market corrections and some pre market volatility based off those figures. Looking at the long short ratio, specifically to Bitcoin, we were seeing a lot of aggressive longs into new lows. That's starting to reverse as of late last night, early this morning, as way more shorts are coming in, thinking we're going to go lower, which is good. We want retail to start shorting this aggressively, and we want some change in price action, and we could be seeing the swing back to the upside. It's a bit early, but it's looking more healthy than it has. Also, looking at the funding rates, open interest weighted is high. So, again, very bearish funding rates, but half of what it was yesterday. Again, a good sign. The big outlier we look at is BitMEX. That's always an incentive in my mind that until that flips back to 0.01 or lower, it's still going to be heavily bearish incentivized. Looking at the liquidation heat map in the local structure, the last 2 week period, we've got a significant amount of shorts building at 100K. So that's still going to be a major high time frame target. We're overdue for a corrective move back up. We haven't made any higher highs or higher lows. We are still trending to the downside. So looking just in the last 48-hour period, where those liquidity points are. We've got some local stuff that starts to look attractive. We want to see if we can break that high that we put in yesterday. That's going to be a significant change of character. And then a higher low is going to change the trend to the upside. That being said, there's still some aggressive good longs below us to take. So if we do fail to make a new high here, there's a good reversal point at 89.8, sweeping that last bit of local liquidity. If that occurs without a break back to the upside, I'm assuming that's going to be the local bottom before we have a continuation up. So, with that being said, looking at the charts, no real major changes. We were talking about yesterday that the big move again was to hold some structural levels. We had the retest into local resistance at 94.5. That reversed back down and made a new low. We are still making lower highs and lower lows in general. So until that trend changes, we really don't want to see a break back up because it could be a fake out. That being said, this support down here at 91K down all the way down to like 89.8, this is daily 4-hour, 1-hour demand. And it's still strong in this zone. So my expectation is that if, as we are stepping off right now, gaining levels to go higher, if we see another rejection that fails to make a new high, we want to see that break back to the downside and create that final new low. And I would expect that to be somewhere around the weekly open at probably the max. Getting below the weekly open, as I mentioned yesterday and earlier, this is when we start to break stuff. So we don't want to break that. We could effectively come all the way down to like 87K and still hold stuff if it's a really quick wick. But we start to break things and it starts to look, fundamentally worse than it did before. The major thing here that we want to see is as we are continuing making lower highs and lower lows, we want to make a higher high followed by a higher low, or a higher low followed by a higher high. That's fine as well. But we need those two conditions, a sequential higher high and higher low, to really indicate a trend change back up. Regaining the big one is going to be 96K. That's going to be kind of like the previous range low as well as the local major resistance. That was a big support to, here's support. We flip that to resistance. So major resistance zone is still expected at this level. If we squeeze through it without any major retracements, I think there's an easy cover short to hedge off, the highs again, because it's a lot of overlapping supply, a lot of offloading in the zone, and we might have to build out a larger structure. So all we know right now is that it looks really good in the current upside drive. This might be the local low. We want to make sure that we create a new high and then, again, create a higher low, and then we start playing out that structure. Until that happens, you're still looking at downside trending. You're still looking at localized failures or even here, like really local, to be a continuation driver to a new low. Watch for that. Make sure you're plotting out your levels correctly. And again, trending down means you're making lower highs and lower lows. Trending up means we're making at least a sequential higher high and a higher low, or a higher low followed by a higher high. Until that happens, you do have downside priority. Watch it. Don't try and catch the bottom. Try and catch the confirmation. That's that. Take it easy. Catch you tomorrow.